escaping the rat race, getting off the hamster wheel. That is what I'm out doing today, pursuing that purpose, and I think it's something that many of us are truly interested in 2025. With all the change coming, with the fact that we figured out that what our parents and our grandparents did won't produce the same results for us. I'm on my way out now to choose a piece of land and put an offer in on where I can build a tiny home with very little building restrictions. I have access to water. I'm going to be doing this with cash, keeping the bank out of it. And the whole purpose to this, I think, for most of us, is that we want to be able to put our time and energy into what truly matters, into our purpose. For me, it's creating, it's developing an impact, it's bringing a positive change into the world. For many people, I would think, it means spending more time with your family, being able to help have a positive influence and cultivate them instead of just the education system and whatever circumstances, wherever their time goes, because you have to be out selling your time for money to be able to support them. But what if you could put that same time into developing them? It doesn't matter who you are, there's something that you want to do with your time that is more valuable than following directions, having somebody else tell you what to do, how to do it, who to be, how to dress. And so that's what I've dedicated my life to, because I know that I have a message for the world. I have an impact. There are certain people that my message will resonate with. Divorced men who are lost, who have felt that they have so much more to do for themselves and for the world, but have fallen back into vices and comforts and drugs and alcohol to escape a life that is not the life that they truly want. Make it through a miserable week at work, telling yourself you love it or you like it, knowing you actually truly hate it. Not even because the job is bad necessarily, but because you're supposed to be doing something better with your time and energy. You know that you have more impact for your life and for the world and for those that matter to you. But you don't know how to be able to dedicate your time and energy to that. And so, our conscience, our spirit tells us, hey, like this job is not achieving our purpose. And that at the end of your life, when you're looking back, it's like, man, I did a lot of work as a mid-level manager. Got my education, got my experience, and got my stuff, and got through, and hopefully supported the family well if you have a family. But then you realize, man, if I would have been uncomfortable, if I would have taken some chances, if I would have had some strategy, if I would have figured things out for myself instead of just followed the path that was laid out for me, I could have had more impact. I could have had a better life for myself. I could have created more for others. I could have really done something. And I've come to that point where I realize that I've already kind of missed the boat. I'm in my early 40s, and I've lived this amazing life. I lived 7 years in a ski town. I started a business that had a whole lot of potential before that. Lost my money, lost my credit, got a bunch of experience. Moved out to the West Coast early on with my career, did video production, flying internationally on clients' Learjets. Spent the last year living on a beach in California. I've done a lot of cool things, but I haven't invested in assets and stocks. I haven't built real estate. And at this point, the way the dollar's being debased and the world's changing and a bunch of traditional jobs are going away, playing by those old rules. The rules have changed, and what they say about trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I've already realized that I'm not going to be able to produce the result that my parents produced by following a path similar to theirs. So now it just comes down to, okay, well, working smarter isn't going to produce the result I want. Excuse me. If working harder isn't going to produce the result I want, then working smarter has to be the option. Everything's a puzzle now. Instead of just following directions, following the path that somebody laid out, now it's time to figure out, okay, what is going to produce the result? What is the path to get to the end result that I want? What is the end result that I want? Fortunately, I had a good portion of life where I could really contemplate that and start designing that direction. And then I took the leap. I did some real uncomfortable things. It was really hard, and I developed that self-belief and realized that I'm not limited by the things that traditional education, jobs, debt, the system wants me to believe that, that I need to be a part of. And so I've been out, I owned a real estate business. We were doing things that the world still hasn't caught up with nearly 15 years later. But it was also going to be a miserable life. Just because I could make a bunch of money doing something a certain way didn't mean it was the right path for me. And when my business partner got in a wreck with a semi-truck, I decided it was time to try a different direction. Then I ended up in a ski town for 7 years, married to a beautiful, beautiful foreign woman, now divorced. Oh, and the story I'm writing with my life, I'm not going to be sad to tell it, even if I'm the only one telling it to myself at the end of my life. So, where was I going with that? So it's all about cracking the code. It's a puzzle. What's the outcome that I want? Well, I want to be location independent. I want to be self-sufficient. Not even, because I am self-employed right now, making good money. I love the client that I work for. It's a group of businesses. I love the work that I'm doing, but it's still not my vision for myself. So I will treat these people like gold till the end of time, no matter what. I will never turn my back on them, but my vision is not to be selling my time for money, regardless of, even if I'm self-employed. It is to be location independent. It is to be able to create what I want based on, my own interests and creativity and the impact that I want to have on the world, and to be able to be completely self-reliant. And with some people, you'll see, you'll understand the multiple streams of revenues through affiliate marketing, through paid advertising, through digital products, physical products, print-on-demand drop shipping. There's all kinds of different things that I'm developing, that I've got experience with my client. There's no point deploying that stuff now because I'm not big enough. Nobody really cares at this moment, like who I am or what I'm doing yet. And it's going to take some real work in the trenches probably. So I'm putting in the work, getting good at talking to you guys. And I don't know, you probably can't see all the mountains I've been driving through. I'm sure you've seen me swerving through the hills out here. So a big part of this is to have a place that I own outright, to have as few restrictions as possible in building and owning that place, to have little to no debt, to keep the bank out of it. The bit of borrowed money that's going to be involved with this is going to be family money. I'm going to try to do everything past buying this piece of land with cash bit by bit, and for under $40,000 I should be able to have a very nice, comfortable, tiny home. There's beautiful views in every direction. There's national park close by. There's 2 hot springs with under 10 miles, one in under 1 mile. The other is quite possibly my favorite place in the world, and it's under 10 miles away. It's almost 3 hours from the city, but 45 minutes from 2 towns, an hour from a couple different ski slopes. So there's a lot of stuff close by, beautiful views in every direction, and almost no rules, almost no restrictions on building. So I can, the target is under $40,000 to build this place. Do it over time, basically bring out about a 200 square foot shell, a big shed basically with a loft, and start learning some basics on construction. I've already got the outside of the place, set it down, and then, get it insulated, run some wires, run some plumbing, and learn some lessons, screw some things up. It'll probably cost me a little bit of money, and still it's going to be a lot better than going out, trading my time for money, paying somebody else an exorbitant price to do things I can figure out for myself, and then paying interest, which just makes me livid the way that works. The bank only has to have $1 for every 9 more they loan out. So if they have 100, they can loan out 1,000. Those are just numbers created out of thin air on a spreadsheet, on a piece of paper, on a database, but that is your life. It is your blood, sweat, tears, time, education. That's all taken away from your purpose. That's all taken away from time you could be spending with your family, towards moving towards your goal, towards me, developing this voice to help the world find this path of fitness and sobriety and freedom, and help men get sober and fit, help people find the best, most authentic versions of themselves. This is what I'm doing with my life. But if I'm spending all of my time working for somebody else, then it's just a little hobby that who knows if it'll ever turn into anything. So, this becoming location independent. Another thing is I'm going to travel. I have a very big goal. I want to get over to Da Nang, Vietnam. I want to do about 3 months there. I would love to have a bug out spot. I would love to own property there and be able to go and be, have a secondary, a permanent residency in Vietnam as well. Maybe if that doesn't work, who knows, maybe somewhere in Mexico. It would just be nice to have permanent residency at least 2 countries. Seems like not a terrible idea. Helping, more towards being location independent. The world, things are going to really get shaken up just in the next few years. And I see a lot of hardships ahead for a lot of people, especially those who only understand how to rely on the system, to rely on other people to provide work for them, to provide their value for them, tell them how much they're worth, and to make sure they've got a roof over their head and food in their stomachs. It seems almost inevitable to me. They say AI is creating jobs. I think it's going to take more jobs than it creates. Now, there's amazing things that can come out of AI, and on the other side of whatever societal shakiness that happens over the next few years to several decades, I think there's going to be a beautiful age of abundance. But history doesn't care about any single generation, and I think our generation is about to be in the middle of some real big challenges. But instead of sitting around and worrying about it and being upset about it and yelling at the TV and joining this political gang or that political gang or whatever, I'm just going to go out, solve this puzzle, create my own form of independence and self-sufficiency. I have unlimited water in this place, a whole lot of sunshine. If I have to do some horticulture, if I do end up in a situation where for a while I'm homesteading, I think that would be an amazing experience. I feel very confident that even if things are getting worse around me, my life is going to continue to get better and better now that I'm really moving in the right direction. And I believe in myself and my message, and I know how to live beneath my means. It's something that, being able to live beneath your means is one of, I believe, the very important elements. Oh, here he goes, caribou, or what is this guy? Oh, better stop before we hit him. Jeez. These guys will just come jumping over the road. They're almost anti-gravity. We're heading back to the road. Oh, yeah, so you don't see those things out in Kansas. So, becoming location independent, becoming financially independent, it removes so much anxiety. That is another huge element of freedom. Financial anxiety is such a damaging thing, and it's we're supposed to be in a constant state of anxiety. If we're not in one, we find a reason to be in one. That's the way everything works. There's something biological about us seeking that fight or flight reptilian emotion. But as you become conscious of these things, and you start to really be able to dictate the direction of your consciousness, something bad happens. It's usually nowhere near as bad as we think. It's usually just fine. Boy, I made a video the other day. Maybe I'll remember to put a card in. I was working on the brakes on this thing, turned one side of it, should have been a 20 or 30 minute job, turned into a 5-hour ordeal. And what was part of the outcome? I took my new bicycle, rode across town. I'm in my 40s now. And if you've been following my content, I did motorcycle stunt riding semi-professionally. I was a downhill mountain bike coach professionally. I raced nationals on BMX. I'm really good with handlebars in my hands, but I never, even though I can do a wheelie on a motorcycle in any way you want, for as long as you want, Was never able to do it on bikes. Well, grabbed my new bicycle, which is made for wheelies. Had to ride to the parts store, and ended up, it finally clicked. Once you get a wheelie down, once you really find that balance point, once your body understands it, you've got it. And so this 30-minute chore that turned into a 5-hour ordeal became quite possibly the most enjoyable moment of several months, because something went bad. And that was something that, I could have been so upset over, I could have waited for a ride for, could have been grumbling and pissed off, and instead, at the end of the day, my spirit was filled with joy. And it's, an element of freedom that we can create for ourselves is just really recognizing in every circumstance, things are rarely anywhere close to as bad as we think they are. And yeah, they're not going the way we think they're going to go. We wanted them to go. We're not getting things done in time. We're going to have to miss out on something else we planned on. Something costs more than we expected, and we're not going to be able to spend the money how we wanted as fast. That's life. But, you're going to get through the situation either way. So might as well be happy while doing it. Might as well find the positive perspective, because you're still there. Not changing anything. I don't know how many thousands of videos it's going to take before my message truly gets out to people, because I'm still figuring my format out. I'm still figuring my message out. It seems like there's so much and so complex, and I thought, maybe I'll start a second channel, and then I can focus this channel on my adventure videos that take a lot of time and energy and money, and that channel on talking to the camera. And it was just too much. So now I'm just throwing it all together in one place, which is probably a bad idea, but not really, because I'm still creating, still moving forward. And in 10 years, when I have 5,000 videos or whatever it is, this will all be there. Everything I have to say somewhere will either impact somebody or give me some practice. So we're going to head out. I'm going to check out this land. I've got 8 or 10 different lots out here to look at. I know which lot I plan on buying, but I want to put my feet on a whole bunch of them because I've already made this trip before. The lot I was looking at sold. Things have changed. And I want to make sure that if something falls through on 1 or even 2, that I've got backup number 3, 4, and 5. So we can just make this happen. Once this is locked down, I know some of my anxiety, my major forms of anxiety are I've got all these different things I have to do, I have to figure out, I have to accomplish, I have to achieve, and I've really been trying to step back and figure out, okay, what are the highest priorities, and everything else takes away from those priorities. What should I actually put my energy and anxiety into? And in this situation, just knowing that I've got a piece of land locked down is a huge weight off my shoulders, because I've been looking for this place, for a place up here in the mountains for 11 years, and I keep watching. I can't tell you the amount of deals I've found that I could have even flipped and easily made $250,000 on if I would have just bought at the right time and sat on them. But hindsight's 20/20. I knew where these places were going. I knew what was going on, but I wasn't in the right position in life. And now I'm to the point where this is my priority. Become location independent, become financially independent. Don't get stuck in a situation where I'm in a lease somewhere, paying rent for a long term. Don't get stuck in a situation where I'm locked into 30 years of my life, paying on a mortgage with all the interest, taxes on interest and interest on taxes. I don't know if that's exactly the way it works, but there's so many taxes and so much interest and so much of my life I'm giving up for very little return on that investment. So anything I can do to not pay into that, not trade my valuable and finite life for those things, is better. Oh man, I do love it out here. Crazy thing is, if it was up to me, if this wasn't the priority right now, I would be driving in the opposite direction and heading over to the Florida Panhandle, just because I need a change of scenery. I had not left Sedgwick County, Kansas in 147 days, and I've said it before, I love my family, my clients are amazing, safety and comfort of home, access to resources. There's a lot of great things about home, but it just doesn't fit my personality. And I love traveling and changing scenery no matter where I'm at, whether it's on the central coast of California, living up in the most visited ski town in America, whether it's in the big city on the Front Range here in Denver, or there in Denver or Colorado Springs. I just like a change of scenery. So I was going to spend a week or two working off my laptop in Pensacola. But I'm going to kick that can for another month or two now, I think, just because I've had a whole lot of things come up I didn't expect. Thousands of dollars worth of mechanical issues, some butthead backing into my car. I know who did it. Can't prove it. A bunch of stuff's happened. So I'm just going to stack a little cash and bounce back after those issues. But I'm going to take a trip down to the Florida Panhandle and set up here in my little tiny home. Do some work out there for a week or two, just because it keeps my spirit in a good place. I'm sober. I'll never drink again. I'm done. I'm over 500 days since my last drink. But I'm committed for the rest of my life to never have another drink of alcohol. And yet, being at home, being in Kansas, I didn't have a problem. I didn't desire to drink while I was working on the beach in California, serving alcohol. That's what I had to do to have that life. But when I get home, man, the urge is there, because what is there to do in Wichita, Kansas? You stuff your face with tasty, unhealthy food, and you guzzle down alcohol just so you can get temporary dopamine hits, numb away the pain of being in a place that is wrong for you. If you're me, at least. Some people there love it, and I'm not saying it's a bad place, but it's not right for me. I am saying it is an unhealthy place. It's not like the Colorado mountains or the California coast, where everybody's active, very few obese people. I'm back at home, very few fit people. It's kind of the opposite. So we're getting into the little town of Hartselle now. It might be time for me to stop, get a coffee refill. You guys are going to see a lot more cool videos out here as time goes. I might have thrown a few cards into this video if I actually watched and listened to what I had to say this time around. Who knows how long I've been talking for now, probably 30-40 minutes. So for those of you that are following along on this journey, listening to the things I'm thinking and saying, I'm glad to have you along. I hope that some of this brings some value and perspective, and for those of you that are just enjoy seeing some of the things I'm doing and need a little bit of inspiration and want to get to know me a little bit better, I appreciate you taking the time to hear my thoughts and let me talk to you.